Hello guys, so today's problem of the day in Leetcode, that is find missing and repeated values. Okay, so what this question is basically saying that we will given an zero index, basically 2D matrix, okay, integer matrix of size n to n, okay, and the values are basically from 1 to n square in that grid, okay, and basically each integer appear exactly once, so the basically values from 1 to n square will be appearing only once, and there will be two values, that is a and b. A would be the number that was basically appeared twice, and b will be basically missing. So what we have to do, basically we have to output the vector or array of repeated and missing value. Okay, so let's just understand the question little bit more. Okay, so here's the grid. I have taken the 3x3 grid and the basically example number 2 of the Leetcode. From in this this is 3x3 and the values are from 1 to 9, that is 3 square of 3, that is from 1 to 9, and there will be two values, basically one value that would be repeated. That you can see here 9 is repeated twice, and if you see the 5 is missing. Okay, so repeating, if I write repeated value, repeated value is 9. Okay, so repeated value is 9 and missing value is basically 5. So what we have to return is simply this vector, that is 9 comma 5. Okay, that is the output but we have to return basically. Okay, we have to return repeated value and missing value. So basically how can we do that? Okay, so if you think of basically if we just store in some basically data structure where, and then at last we can simply see which value is missing and which value is repeated. Okay, so basically I'm talking about the frequency. So whenever the word frequency comes, then when we use hash map for it. Okay, so simply what we'll do, we will use hash map to store the values. Okay, we will store the values one by one, and basically we will update the frequency whenever a value repeat itself. Okay, and at last we can simply check if which value is repeated or which value is basically missing from 1 to n square. Okay, so here's the basically hash map I have created. Okay, so I have created the hash map with their frequency. Okay, so if you see that 9 is repeated twice, okay, 2 is frequency, and basically all the numbers are repeated once. So I have written here 5 with comma. Basically we have to just return this, the missing element is 5. Okay, so we have to return 9 and 5 because 9 is twice and 5 is. So basically this is the approach that we can use. We can use a hash map and we can store all the integers, and we can simply return this. Okay, which number is repeated twice and which is missing. Okay, simply from the loop. But the frequency, basically the space complexity of this approach is big of n square. Okay, big of n square. Okay, so basically if we see, we can reduce this. Time complexity is basically big of n square, and that can't be reduced because here this is basically grid is given. Okay, so space complexity is big of n square. Okay, so we can reduce this. Okay, we can reduce this to big of 1 by using some math in this. Okay, so if we use math, then let's just move on the approach. Okay, let's just move on the approach, that is math. Okay, so what I have done, basically I have calculated the x on y. What are x? X is the basically this repeated value. Okay, and y is the difference, basically missing value. Okay, so I have taken the x and y, then we can simply using math we can calculate the values direct. Okay, so in this we will not use any extra space, we don't need it. Okay, so what this math approach is, let's just talk about it. Okay, so you know that what will be the perfect sum in grid if we add all the basically numbers from 1 to n square. That is, if there is 3 into 3, then 1 to 9. Okay, that will be the perfect sum. Okay, perfect sum. And you know that perfect sum formula is n, basically consecutive number formula is basically if we add consecutive number, then n into n plus 1 by 2. Okay, so here the values are till n square, then we have taken n square into n square plus 1 upon 2. Okay, we have talked about this formula basically yesterday. Okay, then if we want to square this number, okay, if we want to calculate square of this number, that is 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, okay, till n square square, okay, so perfect square sum, that is, so the formula for this you have basically studied in AP or basically in 11 12th maths, okay, so that is n square plus 1 to n square plus 1 upon 6. So why basically this n square is for this n square, okay, if you go till n, it will simply n into n plus 1 to n plus 1 upon 6, okay, that is for n, so that's why we have here written n square, okay. So then next what we do, we have to just calculate the sum, okay. So what is sum of this grid, okay, sum of this grid, okay, sum of this grid would be simply like if we say perfect sum, okay, perfect sum, okay, a perfect sum would be 1 to 9 sum, okay, and if we add the value that is repeated and subtract the value that is missing, that is x is repeated, okay, we have added this, and y is subtracted, then simply we will get the sum value, that is this, okay, this will be the sum, and we can simply calculate the sum difference, okay, what is the difference of sum that is basically missing, x minus y, okay, that is repeated value minus missing value, okay. Then we can basically calculate the square difference, that is x square minus y square, and if we formulate this, then it is x plus y into x minus y, okay, and x minus y, you know that this is sum difference, okay, and we can simply write here square difference, that is this was equals to x plus y into sum difference, okay, we have replaced this x minus y with sum difference, okay, that is we have here, and we can simply say x plus y is equals to square difference upon sum difference, from sum difference will be here, okay, so this will be the formula for x plus y, and you know that x minus y here we can get from x minus y formula this, so you know that these are the two equations that can be basically solved, okay, we can solve this, x will be here, okay, and y can come here, okay, you can simply solve this, okay, you can simply use math, that is if we solve this, this would be n, y would y cancel, the x plus x will be 2x, and this will be added simply, and we can simply calculate the x, okay, then we will put again x basically value of x in any of the equation, and we can simply calculate the y, you can basically do this simple math, okay. So by this, these two value will be calculated, okay, then basically using this we can calculate the basically x and y by only formulas. What we'll do, we will first calculate these values, that is perfect sum, okay, perfect sum, then perfect square sum, okay, and then sum difference, square difference, okay, that's what we need square difference, sum difference, okay, and square difference, sum difference, basically we need only two things, okay, square difference and sum difference, we can simply calculate x and y, okay. So I will tell you in the basically Leetcode how this approach will work, okay, and we will also see this approach also, okay, okay, so I will provide you the code in GitHub also, so that's the basically question, okay. So here's the Leetcode, I have opened the Leetcode and I have written both the basically code for it, okay. So here's the first code, let's just comment out the second code and I will explain you the first code, okay. So here's the first code, I have taken n, that is grid size, that would be simply the size of the grid, and we have taken missing value and repeat value, okay. We have taken the unordered map, and for every number we have just updated the frequency of the integer in unordered map, okay. Then what we'll do, we will start from 1 to the n into n, basically n square total values, okay, and we will check if the frequency dot count, if basically basically the value in this whole 1 to n square is basically missing, then it will simply update it missing, and if the frequency of any value is 2, then it will simply be in repeat this variable, and we can simply return this, okay. So this is simple code, okay. Then let's just move on the second code, okay. Let's just make it visible, okay. So here's the second code, I have taken the sum value and square sum value, okay, long because the value would be long, and we have taken long n equals to, okay, grid size, and total, that is n into n square basically, okay. And we have first, what we have done, basically we have calculated the sum that is total sum equals to sum plus grid, okay, all the values we have added, okay, and we have calculated the square sum. What this static cast this means that basically this value grid row column would be integer, and this whole number, this whole multiplication to itself would be integer. So to calculate basically at the compile time, okay, so when we compile it, simply this static cast convert the in those number, basically this square, into long at the compile time, so that we can't get error, okay. So okay, so you have to also use this, okay. So we will calculate the square sum, total square sum, and we can simply calculate the sum difference. What will the sum difference? Total sum of this grid, okay, total sum of this grid, and minus the sum, the basically total sum, that is was the, or you can say perfect sum, okay, total into total plus 1 by 2, okay, that was the formula, okay. So simply we will subtract this, so simply we will get the basically difference between the sum, okay. What this sum is, this sum is this grid sum, okay, and what this sum is, this is the perfect sum that we require, that is from 1 to n numbers, okay, and we can simply minus this. And for same the square difference, that is square sum minus the, this was the formula, n into n plus 1, 2 into 2n plus 1 by 6, okay. So simply this will calculate the square difference, and we knew that the repeat formula x and y, this repeat was this square difference by square sum difference plus sum difference by 2, and we have seen these formulas, okay, and then we can simply return repeat and missing. So you can submit this. So if you see, it's accepted and beats the 100%. You can see time complexity also, okay. So yeah, big of n square, and if you see space complexity, and it will simply big of 1, yeah. So that's the code.